Welcome back to our last Finance Friday before the summer break. First Ontario Senior Manager of Business Services, Colin Cyr, is here to talk about what business owners can do this summer. Fuel optimism, I guess, is the overarching message here. What should business owners be kind of thinking about in this current climate?
Yeah, we wanted to send it out with a good message. And so we first want to recognize it's tough times for businesses right now. And, you know, the CFIB's June Business Barometer indicated that half of businesses are still dealing with weak consumer demand, half are still dealing with inflation, and only 21% of businesses would self-report as feeling good. So that's tough. But there's reason for optimism as well. And business confidence is at the highest point it's been this year for what that's worth. And so I think it's also recognition that when times get tough, it forces us to maybe operate a little bit smarter, operate a little bit leaner, and develop the skills we need to get through those tough times. So we're going to talk a little bit what businesses can do to boost that optimism through the next couple of months there.
Yeah, so what can they do? What's on the itinerary for this summer?
So we'll talk about first margins, knowing your margins. So costs are up and demand's a little softer, and that can put pressure on profitability. So businesses want to take a look at what parts of my business are still profitable, maybe which parts aren't pulling their weight the same way. And so by taking a hard look at the numbers, you'll want to say, okay, what are the costs associated with a product or service, from overhead and labor and input costs versus what am I selling that product or service for? And that gap is your margin. And you want to look at that margin and say, is this still a profitable product or service? Am I getting the return? And by doing that exercise, you can get a sense of whether or not you want to continue on with that product or service, or maybe even just shift your focus, shift your pricing, and that can have a really big impact in the grand picture.
When it comes to cash flow, what should be top of mind for business owners?
So cash flow, we talk about things like ensuring that when things get tougher, fixed costs go up, like rent and insurance. You want to predict potentially what that's going to have an impact on your long-term picture. So if those costs have gone up and demand's a little bit softer, you want to project outwards from there. But there's also tools that can support your cash flow. So things like a line of credit. Think a business that maybe wants to run a seasonal campaign, whether it's Canada Day or back to school, which we won't talk about right now. But
yeah.
Those campaigns, they have upfront costs, whether it's marketing or inventory and staffing. And so a line of credit can help front some of those upfront costs. And if you do the work to plan for when you're going to pay it down, it can support those short-term expenses and give you a little bit of flexibility in your cash flow.
So this is the wrench of tariffs have really impacted how businesses are looking forward.
Yeah, big time. And I wanted to give an example of maybe a business like a restaurant, right? And so potentially their highest selling entree is no longer profitable. The smash burger is too expensive to smash, or the ingredients are just too expensive. And so an exercise they can do is take a look at those numbers and maybe prioritize campaigning on a cheaper product or something that's higher margin to fix those numbers in their favor a little bit better. And it's just those things that can give businesses some control and confidence back when times are tough and boost their optimism in doing so.
This is a great time for businesses to go into First Ontario Credit Union to say, all right, come this fall, I'm going to do this, and how do we get there?
Yeah, we want to be able to talk with you for the next 3 months, 6 months, what's your plan, and give you a little bit of confidence. And I think one of the key things we want to do is just give you a message that, tough times don't last.
Yeah.
We've been here before as an economy. The 08-09 recession, the economy rebounded, businesses got back on their feet, but it's the things that businesses learned during those periods of time that help them get through it and then come out the other side as stronger businesses. And that's really the core message we want to deliver, and you come talk to us, that'll be a piece of our plan for you, is thinking that way.
We got 90 seconds. What's the most common question business owners ask you?
I think the most common question really is, what are the tools I need to meet my goals? And so we want to sit down with them and say, where do you want to be? What does growth look like for you? What does success look like for you? And when we do that job of really teasing those things out, we're in a position to sort of tailor a solution to their needs. And I think sometimes businesses know where they want to be, and they're not entirely sure how to get there. So we have products and services that can support that alongside other financial professionals you want to have in your circle. But it's how do I get to where I want to be is a big question we have.
We got a minute for some final advice.
I think final advice is, optimism is not something that comes as a result of things being easy. In fact, it's really something that you have to develop when times are tough. It's a recognition that it's the things you develop in those times that are going to get you to the other side. So don't wait for things to get easy. Take the time now to take a hard look at your numbers. Take the time now to maybe rejig your focuses on products and services that are actually profitable, and put the products and tools in place that are going to support cash flow and give you some decision-making ability and help you operate smarter when times are a little bit tougher and you feel like you don't have as much control. You bring that back in your circle and you're going to feel a lot better, I promise.
Great advice from Colin Cyr from First Ontario Credit Union. As we mentioned earlier, Finance Friday is going to be on a summer break, but continue to email your questions to financefriday@firstontario.com. If your question or topic is selected to be covered on air, you will receive a gift card from First Ontario.